Dufferin, Caledon.
Welcome to this edition of Dufferin Life. I'm your host, Tina Avery. Thank you so much for tuning in. So we are blessed in a community where we have a lot of organizations and community groups that help to raise funds for nonprofit organizations. Joining me today, we have Len Meyer. Thank you so much for joining me, Len.
Thank you for having me.
And you are from the Rotary Orangeville. Okay, I'm going to get it wrong. The Rotary Club of Orangeville, Highlands.
That's right. You got
it. And you're in charge of the grants program, right?
Yes, yeah, exactly.
So let's talk a little bit about what that is. Maybe give us a little bit about what, I mean, we're all familiar with Rotary Highlands, but what, you're doing and how the grant program works.
So it's a community choice grant program. So essentially what we do is each year we dedicate some funds that we raise through the community, and we let the community choose on how they want us to spend that money. So we give out 5 donations. This year we raised it from $1,000 to $2,000 each.
Amazing.
3 of the charities are selected by the community and 2 get selected by our board.
So previous to you coming on the show, there's people that nominated charities.
Correct, yes.
Yeah, like some of the ones that I noticed that were nominated was Dufferin Hospice, Theatre Orangeville, and you said the Alzheimer's Society?
Yes, I think they were nominated. They won last year, so they can't run this year. But
okay, so they've been nominated. But yeah, so the idea behind it is that the community then votes to see which one of these organizations actually is given the grant for $2,000.
Right. Yeah, and there's 5 grants that we give out in total, $2,000 each, and 3 of the 3 with the most votes and get the grants, and 2 get chosen by our board.
Okay.
So the voting starts on March 17th, and we get a full week till March 24th.
Amazing. So how can people vote for?
You can go on our website, rcoh.ca, and the whole voting process happens on there.
Okay. So everyone can go online, and then if you want to see who's been nominated, maybe check out social media as well as the website.
And they're all listed on the website as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what is the process of, what made you guys decide to make it a community, to involve the community in voting?
Well, first of all, everything we do is, or everything we're able to do for the community is a little bit of work on our part, but a lot of generosity on the part of the community. So, of course, everything that we get, we give back into the community somehow, and we want to involve the community as much as possible into choosing how we do that.
I think that's wonderful because, I mean, we've all been to different events and different things where people are raising money, and as I mentioned at the beginning, we are very blessed in this community that there are organizations, so many organizations, and organizations that work together sometimes in order to raise money for these not-for-profit organizations that require so much funding in order to provide services for the community. So let's talk a little bit about some of the things that the Rotary Highlands, Orangeville Highlands does within the community to raise money.
So our biggest event is our Taste of Autumn. That is something we do every year. It's happening again, and the planning starts now. It's going to be October 21st, so the tickets probably usually go on sale around April.
Okay.
When we finalize the times and everything like that. And lots of businesses in the community donate items that get raffled off. We have a lovely dinner, some music. It's a lovely event for everyone to come together, and that is where we raise the majority of our funds.
Okay, and as you mentioned, the funds go back into the community, and
Correct.
One example is through this grant program.
Right.
But there's many other things that you do within the community as well?
Yes, normally when we do the Taste of Autumns, we have major beneficiaries. Last year I think the Alzheimer's Society was one of them as well, as they struggled particularly hard through the pandemic. And another beneficiary is our community choice grants. We're in the process of nailing down exactly who we want to involve this year.
Yeah, and I think that must be a process because there's so many worthwhile
right. Yes.
organizations that require funds. So and we are lucky that there are so many community groups that raise money for these people, because I don't know if people realize that a lot of the times for, let's say something like Hospice Dufferin, they're required to raise, I think it's in between 40 to 50% of the funds that they need to operate. Right. And that's a lot of money when you think about it.
It absolutely is, and it's tough for charities, and I think it was particularly tough through the pandemic. We were trying to do our part to help them as best we can.
That's wonderful. So how long have you been involved with Rotary?
I've been involved for 2 years.
Okay.
I'm president-elect for next year, so I'm going to play a little bit of a bigger role, which I'm excited about. We're a growing club. It's a growing community, and we're having lots and lots of people coming to the community that want to help. So hopefully we're going to continue to grow the club and be able to do more good that way.
So let's talk about some of the things that you do. Like, do you have meetings on a regular, like if somebody were interested in finding out more information about being a part of the club?
The first thing you can do is always email us at info@RC Rotary Club of Orangeville Highlands, RCOH.ca.
See, it's not just a tongue twister for me.
Exactly. So those email addresses, you have too many in your head at once.
Yes, yeah, for sure, for sure.
So you can send us an email, and then you can join us at a meeting anytime. So right now we're meeting twice a month, every first and third Wednesday at 7:30 in the morning. Not for everybody, but and we're meeting at the French Press bistro in the morning. So they're actually closed in the morning, so we get to occupy the space for ourselves.
Well, that's amazing. And then you sit and discuss the different initiatives that you're going to take on.
Absolutely, yeah. And everything takes a lot of planning. So the more people we have, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about that too. So when you're planning the events, like when you're planning the Taste of Autumn, does it happen at one location, or does it happen on multiple? And as you said, you're starting now to plan for it. So.
Yes, yeah. The planning process takes quite a while. We did it at that Best Western last year. We're going to do it again there this year.
Okay.
It worked out really well. We've moved through different places over the years, but this place was worked well for us last year, so we're going to do again this year. And then, of course, everything else has to come together, from the catering to the setup to collecting donations for the event, selling the tickets. All that is a lengthy process that requires everyone to pitch in.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm an event planner, so I can completely understand everything that you have to go through to be able to,
so that's all you do all day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think people don't realize, how many people it takes to run a larger event, especially in the community. And there's a lot of people working hard to make it run smoothly, so that the people that are coming to it enjoy it. So there'll be like a silent auction you had mentioned?
Yes, there will be a silent auction and a regular auction as well. Of course, the proceeds that we make from the tickets kind of offset the costs, and most of the funds that go towards charity are the things we raffle off, or the silent auction.
So here's where I do that thing that I do every once in a while, where we make a call out to local businesses and local people in the community that if you're able to either donate or donate a prize, anything like that, please do reach out and help such a worthy cause that helps so many different people in the community.
And there's nothing that's too small, right? Anything is appreciated.
Yeah, and I think even spreading the word is something that people can, like, if you can't help out financially, or you don't have a business, you don't have products or services that you can donate, and you might not be able to attend, what you can do to help a lot of these groups is to actually spread the word, right? Like,
absolutely.
Be on social media saying, this is coming up, this looks like an amazing event, people should attend.
Yeah, anything we can do to grow the event or grow the club is a huge benefit.
Yeah, so if you, do you bring in volunteers for events, or is it just mainly a committee run, like a group run?
It is entirely run by the club.
Okay. Yeah. So it's a lot of work for a lot of people.
It is, yeah, but we enjoy doing it. Why else would we?
Yeah, I think that there's a certain joy to giving back to the community, which is why a lot of us are parts of different groups and different communities, and I try to do my part by promoting events that are happening that support the community as well. But one thing I always like to kind of share and kind of really make people aware of is that this helps so many people with so many services in this community that are necessary. Absolutely.
And there's a lot that Rotary does which isn't specifically targeted towards charities as well, right? I think most people know Rotary Park, which is something that of course the Rotary Club was very involved in, and they're looking to make improvements to Rotary Park, so we're going to hopefully be heavily involved in that again to help make that happen. And of course Rotary International also does a lot of things on the international scale.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a large organization.
Yes,
it's and you can find out this information online by any means. But having someone like Len here to talk about being involved, because I think, and I'm not. I'm going to point this out. So you're definitely a younger gentleman, but I think sometimes when people think of clubs like Rotary and Lions, and they just think it's like all older people and that sort of thing. But there's a lot to be done, and a lot of ways people can give back. And it's not just about older people doing it.
Yeah, and Rotary is working very hard, and I think they're doing a good job to reach the younger generation. People with new ideas, people with fresh energy to make things happen. So that's obviously a big part of the plan going forward. Is we need to attract a more diverse group, of a younger group. And that's just going to make us that much stronger.
Well, because the more people you have involved,
Yes.
the more ideas fall into the pot. And
Absolutely.
when you have something like that, then just even more creativity sprouts from that, because one person will pick up on something that someone says, and oh my gosh, we could do it this way, which is bringing it up to that next level.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what is the best part of working with the Rotary Club for you?
For me personally, I love the sense of community, right? It is so good to be part of something that is bigger than yourself, right? Obviously, everything is optional. You're not forced to do anything. So it really is something really nice to be a part of, and you can see that everything that the community has maybe done for you or for your business, that you can give some of that back.
Absolutely. And I mean, I know we kind of talked about it, but so why is this grant program that you important to the community?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. First of all, I think it also spreads a lot of awareness about the charities that are out there. I think some people go in to vote for a specific charity and they maybe see what else out there. And some people aren't even aware of what kind of services are out there that may benefit them or their loved ones or someone they know. So I think that's another great benefit to the community is, hey, you can go through that list and look at all these great charities that might be able to help you or someone you know.
Yes, I do take pride in bringing awareness to things whenever I can, and for groups to reach out to me if you've got something that I've never covered or something like that. But yeah, you're absolutely right. When you can actually go through the list and your go-to might be this one particular charity that you like to support and you always support, but there are so many other charities out there that you may not know about. So I think that's great to encourage people to do that for sure.
Yeah, and of course it's also good to get a little bit of recognition for the club, and people see what Rotary is all about and what we do in the community.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's really important, and I think that I mean, you've been doing a good job of getting out there for sure, and nationally as well. But just making more people aware, because like I said, it's awareness and the sharing of that information.
Absolutely, that's where it all starts.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what makes it well. So the grant program itself, so everyone's going to go online and they're going to vote for it. And when will you announce the winners of the grants?
March 31st.
March 31st.
Yeah, we have it scheduled, so all 5 winners are going to be announced at that time.
Wonderful. And how does the decision-making process go for the group itself, for the 2 that you're choosing?
We try to locate the charities with the greatest need. That's really what it's all about, because some charities may be smaller and their cause is just as good, but they may not have as large of a following or as large of a reach. And so we really try to choose the ones that have the biggest need right now, that where the $2,000 is really going to make a difference for them.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid point. Like when you're looking at it, because there are a lot of charities, and we talked about this just a second ago about it, being at your go-to charity. This is where you want to go, but often they get a lot of support by a large group where there's charities that have just started or are just trying to get out there that need that information.
Right. Yeah.
Wonderful. Len, I want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
It's been my pleasure as well. So thank you. Don't forget to vote. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Hi, I'm Melinda from Move with Melinda. I am so excited. We have an 8-part fitness series out now. We're going to include stability ball training, resistance training, aerobic training, and flexibility. Right here on Rogers TV. Stay fit, stay healthy.
Hi everyone, I'm Lauren Stallone, the host of Healthy Living Dufferin. Here we talk about all things health and wellness in the Dufferin County. Tune in soon to learn more.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. If you're just tuning in, well, you're tuning in at a great time. So I love to bring people on the show that create awareness, and I've said this a lot of times, because I think the people need information of things they don't know about. But it's not just about the people who need that information. It's about the people who can who need to tell their story, and their story helps people. So joining me today, we have Radina Montgomery. She is the Resource Development Communications Coordinator for Hospice Dufferin. Thank you so much for coming back on the show.
Well, thanks for having us. It is important, you're right, to bring awareness, and I was just going to say, sometimes people don't even know that they need us. Mm-hmm. They may not need us today. Hopefully they may never need us, or they may know somebody who will need us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this event that we're talking about today, and I think it's just vital. I think people don't realize, yes, it's vital to get that information out there, and maybe you're going to need it, maybe you're not going to need it, maybe you're going to need it in the future. But the people for this particular event, when we're talking about telling stories, often part of people's recovery, part of people's ability to deal with things is the opportunity to tell their story. It's therapeutic. So tell me about the event that I'm going on about but not really touching on that's coming up.
So we're hosting, it's an event called Cancer/Breast Cancer Survivor Awareness Event, and it came about by somebody I used to work with at a network who she's a breast cancer survivor, mm-hmm. and she's actually a weather personality. And what happened was she had breast cancer in 2016. And one of the things she's been doing is bringing awareness and bringing the story of her journey to people and sharing it. So she actually is a huge advocate for, as a breast cancer survivor, and you may have seen her in Toronto on some billboards. And what she has done is, she had a double mastectomy, and instead of having implants, she's actually tattooed her chest with sunflowers.
Oh, okay.
And it's very important for her to share her story for other people who are going through the journey, so that they know they're not alone. And just, everybody's story is different, of course, but that's her story. So she's offered to come and speak to people up here. Now, I want to say it's not just a breast cancer survivor event. It's anybody who's been faced with or has experienced cancer. So it could be somebody who is a survivor, but it also could be a family member or a friend. And as you know, and I know, we're all touched by cancer. I don't think there's one person who hasn't known somebody or experienced it themselves.
Yeah.
I lost my father to cancer, and I currently have 2 cousins right now facing breast cancer, and another cousin with prostate cancer. So we have a lot of cancer, unfortunately, in our family. So it's about, for me, what I've seen with my family members is about the positive experience and staying positive and knowing that there's hope, and that's what we're trying to instill in this particular event.
Yeah, and I think you touched on one of the things that I find really important too, is yes, it's about the person who's going through the process or survived the process, but it's also about their family as well. Mm-hmm. I don't think people who haven't gone through it directly close to home understand that how much that the family goes through.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm not taking away from the person at all that is going through cancer themselves, obviously not, but there's such an effect on the family and the need to be positive.
Oh, for sure. And that's 9/10 of the survival rate is the attitude. I know when my one cousin had cancer, I sent him a mug, and it said, cancer messed with the wrong warrior, and put his name on it. And he called me crying because he said, I get people who say, oh, I'm so sorry you have cancer, but you send me this thing about being a warrior and how it messed with the wrong person. He goes, it was the best gift I've ever received. And so it's that piece of hope, to keep people going that they can do it. And so when you see this, Kim McDonald is our speaker, when you see her and her journey, it gives you that hope that, here's somebody who is seen on television day in, day out. There's this idea of, perfection. And, she's perfect in a lot of ways, but here's this story of, she's she's bare-chested, if you see her in Toronto, with these beautiful tattoos that, is about her journey, and encouraging the stories. And also I want to point out, one of our other speakers, Melanie Grime, who's going to be doing meditation, shared with me that her sister is a breast cancer survivor. And then our art therapist, who we work with at Hospice, Tiffany McCabe, I mean, there's another piece of it. The art therapy is another healing factor in overcoming the cancer journey, right? It's a way to, like, get that expression out. And that's one of the things we're going to be doing at this event as well.
And I think, and it's a journey. It's a journey that, we wish that nobody had to go through, but people have to go through it. And that journey has ups and downs. And I think when you hear the story from people, not just the fact that, yes, they've survived cancer, but there were low points. Because when you hit that low point, I can only imagine how alone one feels, even though if you're surrounded by everybody that you love, that you just feel that you feel alone. And I think it's important for people to know that they're not alone, and people have gone through it, whether their journey is from one type of cancer or another.
My one cousin who has breast cancer, she was sharing a story with me about her granddaughter, and it was Thanksgiving, and they went around the classroom and they were saying, what are you thankful for? And she stood up and she said, I'm just so thankful to have my grandmother, but I really wish she could, the cancer could be gone. And it's amazing how the children, too, of some of the cancer survivors, and just how their reaction is and how much they understand it and wish that, they provide the hope. And I think in my cousin's case, I've noticed with her, she's so positive, and she's gone through, the chemo. She's had one mastectomy, and then she's also had radiation, and then they found another tumor, and she's having to go through another chemo. But she stays positive, right? Because she's got this great family connection. But you're right, it affects the families too. I mean, it affects, the kids. I mean, they do their best, but it's scary for them too, right? To think, grandma's sick, or, how long, what's going to happen to grandma? Will it happen to me? But I think, since we started this journey with this event, which is actually March 25th at Manora Park from 11 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. We're going to be doing the meditation that starts, and the meditation to start us. Then we're going to do the art therapy. We're going to do a community painting, I believe it is. So everybody will be responsible for a piece of that, which will be put up somewhere. And then there'll be a take home, and then we'll have Kim McDonald speak about her journey and getting other people to share. But it's been interesting because since we started this event, I've had people reach out to me and inbox me and share their stories with me. And, that's part of the healing process too, right?
And I think it's vital to it. Like, I think that no matter what you're going through, be it cancer, any other disease, anything that makes you sad, unhappy, depressed, feeling alone, even if you can't share it with others, even if you write it down, it's a source of sharing. Like, I think there's a need to get it out, no matter what you're going through. And I think that events like this that allow people to see the hope, to possibly, take something away with the different events, the meditation, the art therapy, and then to move forward from that. It's just such a positive experience.
Well, and that was the whole point of it. When I set out to do this, I said I wanted it to be something positive, because if there is somebody, Kim's, been through her journey for a while now, but there's some people just starting out, right? And sometimes, I'm sure Kim was surrounded by a lot of support. Not everybody has that support. No. But sometimes it's the loneliest place to be, to think that you could be the only person in the world going through that. And so to hear somebody else's story helps a little bit. I mean, yes, every journey is different. The amount of chemo you have, the amount of radiation you have, it's all different. But it's the fact to know that you're not alone. And so then where we come into all of that, and I should segue into that, is as a hospice, a community hospice, that's what we're here for, is to support people. So this is, yes, everything we do is kind of fundraising, because as you know, we don't get 100% of our support from the government. We get 60%. But this is more of an awareness piece for people, and to know that we're here. So if you are faced with a life-limiting illness like cancer and you don't know where to turn, call us, because that's what we do. We're here for you, and we will find resources. I mean, in our office, we have mastectomy bras, we have these, they call them naughty knickers. I don't even think it's knickers. Sorry, I probably have that wrong, but it's like it's a knitted, it's like a, not a prosthetic breast, but it's a knitted one, so it's a little bit softer, so you could still wear your bras if you want to. And we also have the head wraps, and we have wigs if people need them. So, and we have lots and lots of resources, and we have a counselor if you need to talk to somebody, and we have amazing volunteers that will help and support you, and caregivers. So that's part of why we're doing this too, is so people understand what we do.
Yeah, and I mean, cancer is only one aspect of what you do. I mean, the grief counselors that you have for people that are experiencing family members or friends in palliative care and that type of thing. And the resources that I think people need to know is that if you don't know, then you reach out and they will be able to help you. And if they don't know, they will find things for you. Like you know, I mean, you know this. We've had this conversation, you and I, on screen, off screen. Hospice is has a special place in my heart for taking care of my mom when she was passing, and just making more people aware that you need to think about this and talk about this, maybe prior to when it actually happens. If you know about it, then that's step one, right? If you know that it's there, if you know the services are there, then that's step one for somebody.
Well, and I think too, sometimes we get confused with residential hospice, and we're not a residential hospice, but sometimes with residential hospice, what people see is maybe the final days. So you go to the residential hospice, some people are there a long time, some people are there a day, and they do a great job because there's a purpose for that. But we're a community, which means we're here for a very long time.
Yes.
So a lot of time what happens is somebody's diagnosed, say, with cancer, and they call us. So we're with them through that journey, and then we're there with the family for up to another year after, unfortunately, if somebody does pass, with the grief.
Yes.
So we're with families for a very long time, and we get to know them. And then we also have these great volunteers who can come out to the house. So if somebody does have cancer and they have a caregiver, and that caregiver is, you know, caregiver stress and fatigue is a real issue. But if that's the case, then we can give them a break, and we can say, you know what, why don't you go grocery shopping, and we'll stay here with your dad, your mom, your whoever, and we'll play cards with them, or we'll watch a movie, or we'll read to them, or we'll, you know, just hang out with them and be a friend to them, right? And that is worth so much. And our volunteers are amazing.
Yeah.
Of course, we're always looking for more volunteers, but they're amazing, and it takes a special person to be able to do that. It's not an easy job.
No, it's definitely not. And the comfort that provides, and the mini escape from a caregiver to get them just to go for a walk, just to go out for coffee with a friend, to go pick up groceries, to think about something else for even half an hour. I can't tell you that makes all the difference in the world. Regina, I want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you, Tina, for this opportunity. And for more information, make sure to visit our website.
Absolutely, absolutely. And thank you for joining us today. Until next time, bye-bye for now.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
It's about sharing and caring.